My name is Mayuresh Nihari. I have overall now 23 years of experience. I did executive MBA back in 2015 with Institute of Product Leadership. So we sort of passed out in 2016. So it's been 9 years that I am carrying this product, baton with me. Right now, I head engineering and product at Revery Language Technologies. Before that, I was a CTO at a e-commerce analytics company. Before that, I was with a private equity firm, helping them with their acquisitions and building their products. Before that, I spent a very long time with Sun Microsystems and Oracle. So that's a very brief about me. So back in 2015, I was already about 14 years into my career, right? And I started out at Sun Microsystems. It was a dream job, like it is, maybe some other companies today, but it was a dream job and you're starting at it. And first few years, being a techie was great. I started out at the Java runtime team, eventually moved over to operating system team. So I did a lot of that, grew up the ranks, So at about 14 years, I was already a senior manager there, managing a technology team. By then also, Oracle had acquired Sun Microsystems and we were part of Oracle. To me personally at that point, it was more about somewhere I felt a little bit limited with my current role and responsibilities, although I had, the people aspect of it, the technology aspect of it. I had always enjoyed all my meetings with clients. I used to get that opportunity a lot. And I'm also a theater actor. That's something that I've continued for last 25 plus years. So that communication, presence out there, I felt that that's a very important skill that I have. I was very good at, sort of meta thinking, right? And I felt that, a lot of these core skills, I'm not getting a role where I could use them. Of course, I always loved technology. I still do that. But I felt that is there any other role that could help me bring in even some of the other skills of me? And the idea was simple that, if I have to grow up further, there is a lot more that I need to learn about business. So 2 trigger points, right? One is some of my core skills, where I can put them to use best. Second was, if I have to get into leadership roles in a large organization, it would otherwise be a very, very different and long path. So that kind of triggered. And back in those days, I felt India and the ecosystem in India was at the cusp of going from, project-focused teams and work coming out of India into more and more MNCs setting up larger and larger centers. The startup ecosystem had just, was just on the horizon coming up. So I felt that this would be a very valuable thing for me from a career standpoint. And that is how I was thinking about product when a point came in my career about what else do I need to do to move further and move beyond where I am. I would say 2 things that primarily helped me, right? One is overall experiential learning, right? All faculty members were core practitioners. It was coming from somebody who has been there, done that. So they would give you these, call them anecdotes, call them, little experiences of theirs, which would really help us learn from not just the concept, but how it is done, on the ground. And I had that experience with pretty much each and every faculty member that I had, opportunity to learn from. Whether it is sales, product marketing, design thinking, product labs, I think everywhere, constantly, it's like when you visit a new country, you see everything different. I was able to sort of, I found myself in that sort of a setup where everything else that was happening around me, of course, through the cohort, the questions they were asking and everything was that new world where I was just assimilating. I can also talk about some really great experiences. I remember pretty much every time I would be in front of a new practitioner, I had the same experience that this gentleman or lady is bringing in so much into the class. I would write, to somebody I worked with, and I gotten very close to during the process at IPL, and I said that, today this gentleman has been mind blowing and all of that. One very interesting story is that as part of product labs, once we were asked to, we were doing something around selling. And we said, if we want to learn selling, let's keep the product very simple. So we just made lemonade one day, and on Sunday we went out on the Indiranagar Kormangala Ring Road in Bangalore, and we were trying to figure out ways to kind of stop people and sell the 20 bucks glass of lemonade. And that half a day we spent on the road trying to sell something is still fresh in my memory. Still such a brilliant learning experience that we've had. And I'm sure that many of them, through all the workshops, all the activities that we've done. I also had a chance to do an internship with a startup during that time, where we were doing a lot more on-ground activities to understand, users and user psychology when they are connected in an environment where we are trying to solve a problem. So I would say the one thing that stands out is the whole set of activities and the experiential learning part coming from practitioners, forcing you to put yourself into a relevant setup and learn from it. I think did a lot to me in terms of how I think. My way of thinking completely changed. I unlearned a lot of things that I had as somebody who was building products from a technology point of view or engineering point of view, but not really thinking about as much whys that product forced me to do. Breaking into product management is, if you have similar experiences, becomes a little tricky. But I think the key thing that you have to keep in mind there is that you are still driving the vehicle of your own career, right? IPL will give you all the ammunition or all the tools or that mindset, but it is completely up to the individual to be able to convince the other party, applying all of that you've learned, and of course complementing with your existing, the experience that any individual has had. In my case, I would say I was lucky enough that during the course itself, I made a move from a senior manager at Oracle. I had a team from a managerial role to an individual contributor role as a product manager within a very, very different organization in the same company, right? I believe that IPL, my thinking, my existing understanding of tech, all of that put together was a decisive proposition for the hiring team there. And since then, I would also say that, for the last 10 years or so that I have, I am handling both engineering and product in pretty much every role that I have taken. There is not even a single day where I have not applied these things. Even if I'm sitting with my technology teams, I feel that they value my point of views that comes from application of some of these product management concepts as to how to build a product. At the same time, my product teams, I feel together we are able to work a lot better when we are able to bring in the engineering mindset. Overall, that essentially builds, or gives me an opportunity to contribute for an organization at a much higher level in leadership roles. A lot of those things also we've had to exercise at IPL, in terms of, having that poise as a leader, how do you negotiate on certain tricky matters. Conflicts are everywhere. So it's not just about product mindset, but it's also so much more about the leadership aspects that I now go back and realize that, okay, this is a technique that I had learned about, say, negotiations or having difficult conversations with your peers, with your team, and even your superiors, right? So I think there are a lot of things that it has given me. I think coming back to that question, I would say that you still ought to be the driver of that career vehicle. And then, sort of leverage the learnings you've had to be able to convince anybody who is hiring for a role that is PM.